This is the gospel according to the IRS, Breaking Points and Church Financial Updates. And now, here's the authority, Dr. Michael Chitwood and Breaking Points.
This is Michael Chitwood. Welcome to Breaking Points. I don't know about you, but my father always taught me what could be better than taking care of a man of God who is always taking care of so many other people. We love what we do at Chitwood and Chitwood and Clergy, Tax, and Law because I believe with all of my heart that if we help you get what you want, that God will help us accomplish what we want. I believe that with all of my heart. Today, I want you to grab a pad and pen because we've got some major breaking points today, and I'd like to read something to you today that I think could be very important to your ministry. If you remember correctly, the last time that we left off, we talked about the Check Writers University Seminar course. We're now being bombarded by check writers across this nation that's wanting to order the Check Writers University course because they're put into a position that they don't know what they're doing. Check writers just do not understand that there's a big difference in being a bookkeeper and being a check writer. But I'd like to read something to you if I could today. I brought this with me just so that I could share this with you. I think that you'll find it to be pretty interesting today. Here's what it says. It says, former church treasurer now faces 4-year sentence for embezzling $1.6 million in a case. The other thing says this. Pastor was sentenced to 4.5 years for embezzling $1 million in federal daycare funds. He blames the church check writer for this. Now, the reason why that I wanted to share that with you today is because as we go through this, one of the things that we need to learn about is the word private annulment. So let's grab a pad and pen. Let's get going if we can because we've got a lot to cover today. When we're talking about annulment, I'd like for you to make a note that the way you spell annulment is I-N-U-R-E-M-E-N-T, private annulment. It's a common term among the Internal Revenue Service. It's not a new term, but it's a term that's just now surfacing more because of the Corporate Responsibility Act by Sarbanes and Oxley, which deals with the Corporate Greed Act, the Corporate Scandals, Corporate Responsibility Act. It also applies to the church world. And in that regard today, private annulment is something very important. The first thing that I'd like for you to make a note of is in order for you to maintain your tax-exempt status as a 501c3, 170 and a small little b, there are some things that you must do and know. Number one, please write this down. No person or persons may own the church. No one owns your church. The law says that if you close your church or if you sell your church, that you have to give all of the money to another 501c3. Later in the upcoming programs, I'm going to be talking about how every minister needs to have his own or her own separate 501c3 organization from the church. So the first point that I'd like to bring to your attention is no one owns the church. No person and no individual owns the church. I'd also like to make a footnote there, if I could, and insert something to you, is that we know what board members know about this subject. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not very much. Now, that doesn't mean that board members are bad. It just means that they just don't know a whole lot about this subject. A lot of trustees, a lot of board members, they think they own the church. They don't own the church. It's a power thing with them. They don't own the church. You don't own the church. So therefore, it's important for us to make sure that we know point number one. Number two is no one can take money or receive dividends or take the property from the church. Have you ever noticed how that some people buy a pew, put their name on it, when they get mad, they check it out? Let me tell you a little story real quick. I represent a very large ministry. They took in $83 million last year, including their church, their television, and their Canadian ministry. And in that total income, they are a very big ministry. They always have people wanting to do things for them. This is a national healing ministry, by the way. And so what happened is that there was a landscaper, a contractor, that wanted to put in some beautiful palm trees and beautiful landscaping. Cost about $2 million. He put it all in, got it all set up really nice. His son got sick and he wanted the preacher to pray for him. Well, he couldn't reach the preacher because the preacher was in the Philippines on a healing crusade. You understand that when this pastor got back 4.5 weeks later from the overall travel itinerary, do you understand that those palm trees were gone, the shrubs were gone, and it looked just like it looked before the landscaper came? So people buy a pew and put their name on it, and then they think it's theirs. It's kind of like this. You change the keys in the church on Friday. Everybody's got a new set to their church on Sunday. So you need to realize that point 1, no person or persons own the church. And point 2, no one has the right to take property, dividends, or money from the church. Point number 3, please make a note of this. The church must operate exclusively for its general, particular, exempt purpose. As long as you're doing that under 501c3, then you're going to be able to stay out of the danger zone of becoming private annulment. Now, I don't know if you remember this or not, but a lot of people get caught with private annulment. It's not what you know that will hurt you. It's what you don't know. And I do know this for sure, that cheap advice is expensive. You normally pay for what you get. So therefore, you need to make sure that everything that you're doing in your church is correct, above board. Now, do I think that you want to do something intentionally wrong? The answer to that is absolutely not. But I also know this, that if you get killed accidentally or if you get killed intentionally, you're still dead. So the IRS doesn't care if you did it intentionally or unintentionally. You better get your house in order right now. Private annulment. I'm going to continue with the 5 components tomorrow on private annulment. Until next time, this is Michael Chitwood, and I'll see you tomorrow on IRS Breaking Points.
Breaking Points gives you the latest IRS updates and tax law. Pastor, if the IRS came to your church today, what would you say? If you really want your house of worship in order, call 1-800-345-9117.